4 investigates gets an inside look at a bankruptcy company that's been slammed by courts on both sides of the river. In fact, one judge calling it a massive ripoff.
News 4 has spoken with more than a dozen customers who all tell a similar story, feeling preyed upon by this business at what was already one of the worst times in their lives. To get to the bottom of it, investigative reporter Lauren Traeger went undercover.
All right, I'm going.
I took the same walk many people have, into Critique Services because they're losing hope and needing help.
It's like sinking ever more into not being able to deal with any of it.
I walked in the hands of evilness.
They were very eager to take the money, and they took it.
These women turning to Critique when bills piled up. They wanted help to file bankruptcy. They scraped together the cash for the fees.
You have proof that you paid
Yes.
back in June of 2015,
Yep.
and still nothing has happened.
Absolutely nothing.
Either do what you were paid to do, or give me my money back so I can go someplace else to get this done.
They're far from alone. The Better Business Bureau receiving hundreds of complaints since 2003. A Critique attorney did file a case for Jeanette, but she says there's been problems and it's been nearly impossible getting a hold of them.
You think it is robbery?
I think it's robbery. It's very clear.
I dug into the records. A similar Critique company began in the 90s and often operated in the Metro East. Their practices became so alarming to a federal bankruptcy judge that in 2003, Critique and its owner, Beverly Holmes Dilts, were barred from ever conducting business in Southern Illinois' federal bankruptcy courts. So they simply moved all their business to Missouri.
They do a huge volume of cases.
Correct. And they apparently their success is driven by the fact that they charge a very low price.
Bankruptcy attorney David Gunn represented a client that sued Critique, and a Missouri federal bankruptcy judge has suspended Critique's lawyers for things like falsifying documents and lying to their clients. The judge saying no lawyer can use Critique's address here on Washington until March if they want to appear in bankruptcy court. But after that order was issued, I went in undercover, and Critique manager Renee Mayweather seemed all too ready to help me out if I was willing to pay up.
Bankruptcy?
Yeah, bankruptcy.
Well, the attorney fee is $349, and then there's a court filing fee of $335.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to be scheduled, we can schedule to see an attorney.
Would I have to pay before I see the attorney, or should I?
Well, fees are required on the day of your appointment.
Okay, on the day of the appointment. And do you guys take cash or credit card, or what should I? Okay, just cash only?
Yeah, we cash or money order.
After a few more questions, Renee left. While I waited, another Critique client tried to warn me away.
Like you've had bad problems with them?
When Renee returned, the tune had changed.
We have a couple of attorneys who get suspended, so we're no longer taking on.
Okay.
Perhaps they grew suspicious, because there's more. These documents reveal that even though they likely rake in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, Holmes Dilts admits under oath they haven't filed taxes in at least the past 3 years.
Why are they not filing their taxes? That's a really interesting question.
We caught up with one of the suspended lawyers, Dean Merriweather. He wouldn't help us follow the money trail.
Tell me, sir, do you know why the business hasn't filed taxes in 3 years?
That's my only question right now.
Before taking off, he insisted everyone would be getting a refund. As for Critique owner Beverly Holmes Dilts,
Can I possibly make an appointment to talk to her?
her lawyer told me she didn't want to talk to me. Even as I waited, I had no trouble finding more unhappy customers.
My mama used to tell me you get what you pay for.
Thankfully, he returned with good news.
Thank you.
His debt finally wiped clean.
I'm happy with this.
Others aren't so lucky.
Have you received a refund?
If they're offering refunds, where's mine? Because I didn't get it. And I bet you other people haven't either.
Just leave my card for Beverly to give me a call. I'd really like to talk with her.
Okay. My opinion and my advice, do not use Critique Services at all.
I finally received a statement from a lawyer representing Critique's owner. He says that Critique is referring current and new clients to other attorneys. But put together, people I talked to have one big question. Why has this all gone on for so long? Well, count on us to keep following it. I'm Lauren Traeger, News 4.
There's a major development following a News 4 investigation of a local bankruptcy firm. The federal government now asking that the company be shut down.
And agents are saying News 4 undercover video is proof of wrongdoing. Investigative reporter Lauren Traeger shot that video. She's here now with this latest development.
Yeah, guys, this is pretty big. In this document, the Department of Justice is asking a federal judge to stop Critique Services, its owner, and one of the employees from providing bankruptcy services. One of the reasons why is what we captured on video when I went undercover.
The attorney fee is $349, and then there's a court filing fee of $335.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to be scheduled, we can schedule you to see an attorney.
That's Critique manager Renee Mayweather. Despite a judge saying that no lawyer could use Critique's location as a business address, when I went in undercover, Mayweather initially seemed all too ready to help me out if I was willing to pay up. This video now an argument in a federal filing against Critique Services, saying Mayweather and Critique's owner Beverly Holmes Dilts are in violation of court orders against them. During this investigation, I have heard from over 24 people complaining about Critique, many paying for services they say they never received. A judge suspending Critique's lawyers for things like falsifying documents and lying to their clients. And there's more. Additional documents reveal that even though they likely rake in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, Holmes Dilts admits under oath they haven't filed taxes in at least the past 3 years. Critique's clients now demanding answers and action.
I walked in the hands of evilness.
They were very eager to take the money, and they took it.
Now, just this afternoon, another late-breaking development. The man you see right there, Dean Merriweather, one of Critique's lawyers, has now been suspended by Missouri's Supreme Court. He cannot practice any kind of law for a year. I talked to him briefly outside Critique's offices back in January, as you see there. He told me then he'd planned to keep practicing and that all of Critique's clients would be getting refunds. Now, the attorney representing Critique has told me they believe the courts are the ones to blame, imposing unjust and unfair restrictions on the business, harming the mostly African-American clients who need help by leaving them without lawyers. We'll, of course, stay right on top of this story and bring you all the very latest developments. For News 4 Investigates, I'm Lauren Traeger.
The top law enforcement agency in the state is cracking down tonight against a company at the center of one of our recent undercover reports.
Yeah, investigative reporter Lauren Traeger exposed the Critique Services bankruptcy firm last month after hearing from dozens of victims. Now she brings us this big development.
In these 30 pages, the Missouri Attorney General slams Critique Services, saying plain and simple, the company committed fraud. The alleged victim tally, nearly 140 people that they know of so far.
We've worked with your network, frankly, and that have reached. You've reached out to folks, and we've got people continuing to complain.
The Attorney General's office says Critique Services, its owner, employee, and attorneys have been repeatedly exploiting vulnerable people. People who paid Critique Services hundreds to help them file for bankruptcy, often with no results. A judge suspended Critique's lawyers for things like falsifying documents and lying to their clients. But even after I went in undercover, and it seemed like Critique's manager was all too ready to help me out.
The attorney fee is $349, and then there's a court filing fee of $335.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to be scheduled, we can schedule you to see an attorney.
Some say Critique's bad business practices have gone back many years. The AG's office has even sued them before. Now, Ben Boydell says with a recent onslaught of complaints, they had to act.
At this point, these business practices need to stop.
Absolutely, without question. The deception has got to stop.
A lawyer for Critique says he hasn't seen the suit and didn't have a comment. For weeks, we've been putting victims in touch with the AG's office. They want to hear from anyone harmed by Critique. For News 4 Investigates, I'm Lauren Traeger.
You're watching News 4, watching out for you.
Welcome back. A St. Louis bankruptcy firm told to shut down. Critique Services was the focus of a recent News 4 undercover investigation. In addition to the order, it is also now facing legal action by the Missouri Attorney General. Investigative reporter Lauren Traeger has the very latest.
This is the first time since our series of investigations that a judge has ordered Critique Services to completely shut down. For now, they can't take any more clients or collect any money from people who need help. Federal officials saying our undercover video was part of their proof of wrongdoing.
Do you guys take cash or credit card or what should I? Okay. Just cash only?
Yeah, we cash or money order.
That was January. Critique's manager all too ready to help me out with a bankruptcy, even though a judge had already suspended Critique's lawyers for things like falsifying documents and lying to their clients. People complaining they paid Critique for bankruptcy help but got nothing. Now, this latest order from a judge says that Critique must be stopped in order to protect the public from their fraudulent and deceitful practices. A sign on the door saying the office is closed, at least for today.
When I visited Critique earlier today, several more people showed up wanting their money back. The Attorney General wants to help. They want to hear from anyone who's had bad dealings with Critique. For News 4 Investigates, I'm Lauren Traeger.
A bankruptcy company at the root of a News 4 undercover investigation has now been told by a state judge to shut down.
This, as we learn, the list of victims has grown longer. Investigative reporter Lauren Traeger broke this story. She now brings us the latest developments.
It was just a few months ago that I went in undercover at this bankruptcy services company. There used to be a sign hanging right there, but you can see it's gone now. The doors also locked today, and some people hope it stays that way.
I walked in the hands of evilness.
They were very eager to take the money, and they took it.
These women are among the 200 victims of Critique services known to law enforcement. At a desperate time in their lives, they paid hundreds of dollars to have the company help them file for bankruptcy. Instead, they got nothing. Even though Critique's lawyers had been suspended for things like falsifying documents and lying to their clients, I went in undercover in January, and it appeared Critique was all too ready to help me out if I was willing to pay up.
The fee is $349, and then there's a court filing fee of $335.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you want to be scheduled, we can schedule to see an attorney.
Now a state judge has prohibited Critique's owner, lawyers, and attorneys from spending any of the clients' money, from advertising for new clients, or from forming any other bankruptcy business. Attorney General Chris Koster saying this move makes sure the company will no longer prey on desperate people.
I've been putting in a bunch of phone calls to see if anyone from Critique will be facing any criminal charges. You can count on me to keep following it. For News 4 Investigates, I'm Lauren Traeger.